Wow. Today I'm going to show you not just one or two, three different ways of disposing of these fluorescent bulbs safely so no one gets hurt. These are one-timers. This is a design that you can use again and again. Interested? Here we go. For this version, I'm just recycling the brown paper you typically get in boxes in some of your shipments. With COVID, we all seem to have lots of shipments. And you're just gonna go around like this, put the seam in there, and then just roll it up. Get plenty of layers in there. And then just take some of this package tape, and run it around like that. A couple strands of it. And you can see here you got some extra. So just fold that over, take that up, and do the other end the same way. And this too is probably completely safe. You don't have to break the bulb at this point, but I'm just going to reduce it down by popping the glass and getting it down into a smaller container so the folks that do our trash aren't endangered. If it falls out of the trash can, it's not going to be glass dust in the road that is going to hurt somebody, animal, person, whatever. This is probably the easiest one, but it's kind of costly because you have to use some tape. You don't want to use duct tape necessarily. This is that box tape when you're moving. We have a whole bunch of extra rolls left over. So you go from the beginning, you try to line it up all the way down. I've used this with lots of success in the past. The only problem is you have to make sure that you completely tape the tube, because if you don't, guess what? That's where the glass is going to fall through. So go around here like this and just go all the way down and tape it. And if you're really frugal, you could try to do it in two. See, I'm going to get really close, but I'm not going to be completely happy because I'm going to have a little bit of the glass showing through, or it's not going to be thick. Right, like right there. So I know that there's just a weak seam here. I want to make sure it's completely overlapped, and then just run another one. To be extra safe, because I have a lot of this tape, I'm just gonna run it down like this. That's probably good enough. You could probably even put it in the trash this way, but I'm gonna break it down intentionally and put it in a smaller bag because I don't want the folks that pick up our trash to have any chance of being hurt by this. This last version is a build, and it's designed to be something that you can use again and again and again and again. And it's made out of 1 liter bottles like this or 1 liter bottles like this. And you just kind of cut the top and the bottom off. And if you look here on a lot of these bottles, you've got a line right here that you can use as a guide. And on this one, same thing, line right there you can use as a guide on the bottom piece. And then on the top piece, you want to just cut it off somewhere like this. If you can straighten it up, certainly, by just taking a marker and kind of going around and give yourself a guide. And then whether it's the top or the bottom, it's the same technique. I use a box cutter to get in there. Oopah. And then you can either use scissors or continue with the box cutter. I found that the scissors are a little easier to guide around. And then they just go together pretty simple like this. And you want it big enough so that the fluorescent bulb can pass through either the big ones or the small ones. I'm designing it so it can do both the big and the small. And on the end, you don't cut off the bottom. This end won't fit in there, so there's a couple options. I guess you could cut it off and then just tape the top, but I'm not too keen into that. You can use other bottles, anything that's bigger than the fluorescent bulb, and you just cut the bottom off here. You might need a hacksaw for this thicker plastic. What I did here is I had an old tennis ball can, and I just cut them along the line there. Flip off here like this. You can see that has a nice lid on it, nice and tight, and will contain the bulb when you break it. And then on all these little ends here, take some of this clear, either box tape, shipping tape, this is Frost King weather tape, and just go on all these edges, tighten them up. They're pretty tight as it is, but you don't want to rely on that. Then you just take the clear tape. You can use duct tape if you want. That would work just as well. One revolution with a little overlap is all you need to do. Alright, so let's check and see how many of these bottles we actually used on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's just long enough for one of these 4-foot bulbs, whether the bigger ones or this one. Alright, so this is all taped up. There's a lot of potential with this design for all sorts of different builds. And this is a win-win because I'm just trying to recycle these bottles, keep them out of the landfill. You know, people say that you can make shirts and stuff out of them, but most of them just end up in the landfill. Let's be honest about that. So this is nice and tough and will provide you a safety barrier when you go to break this. These are the scrap ends, less to recycle, or you can use them for funnels. These are the 1 liter bottles. You could also use 2 liter bottles if that's what you have. This is the safe way to dispose these, but they last maybe half to a quarter of the time that an LED version does. These are now on the market, and they're comparable in price to these fluorescent tubes. And in some places you can't even find the tubes anymore. I've started going to these LEDs. They're great, and they're gonna last a long, long time. Now it's time to take these guys outside and reduce them down for trash disposal. This is the brown paper wrapping. To prove how safe it is, I'm going to drop it on this target right here, and we'll see how it does. 3, 2, 1. Completely contained. So this guy worked out well. Here's the tape version. A little bit of a void here. That's what I was telling you about. You gotta be really careful with this glass. This is why these things are so dangerous, and you have to be very careful when you dispose of them. Now we got this demonstration tube, and we'll see exactly what happens when one of these things explodes during its impact. Wow. Look at that. Real dangerous. Gotta be really careful of this stuff. So the last thing is disposal. I've got one of those tough kitchen bags, put it in there. The brown paper containment worked really well. The tape is less than satisfying. You get one little void or a cut in the tape and it can go everywhere. This, on the other hand, worked great. I mean, look at all those tens of thousands of really small pieces of glass, and then you just turn it like this, tap it a couple times, carefully open this, and you've contained the entire fluorescent tube. And as with any project involving very dangerous small shards of glass or anything like it, make sure you sweep up the perimeter to keep it safe. Wear thick leather gloves or some sort of thick gloves and safety glasses. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in finding out how to be safe with dangerous stuff, designs of all kinds, check out my channel and please subscribe because you never know what you're gonna see.